don't you tell everyone what our big secret is?
We're getting Stevie.
Your old lesson horse.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, you loved Stevie.
Yeah.
And Aubrey called to ask if we might be interested in getting her, because we asked about Stevie before, didn't we?
Yeah, but
She wasn't for sale. It is early Sunday morning, and it was time change last night. So we said we have to get up early in the morning to go, and this one here gets up at the equivalent of 4:45 to wake us up all dressed and says, "Let's go get our horse." She has been anxiously waiting the last 2.5 hours before we could actually go. The girls used to ride Stevie during their lessons before we moved, and they just loved her. And when we found this place, we actually asked if they were thinking of selling her, but they weren't. She was a main lesson horse for them. Fast forward to the pandemic, and they decided to breed her since lessons couldn't be going on. So Stevie is actually pregnant and due next month. Now, Stevie hates dark and confined spaces, so being pregnant, she wanted nothing to do with getting on this trailer. Whenever we bring a new horse home, we always like to give them lots of time to settle in and get used to things. We want to reduce their stress as much as possible. This is especially important with Stevie because she's pregnant, so we definitely want to bring her stress level down. When they first come off the trailer, we will put them in the round ring just so that they can settle down and have a look around, get used to all the new sights and smells. Usually we won't have the horses meet face to face until they've had a couple of days getting used to each other's smells in the barn, in their stalls. In Stevie's case, she is used to being an outdoor horse. However, we have a huge coyote problem here, and so for her safety and that of the baby, we can't have the horses out at night. With Stevie, we decided to introduce the horses outside on the first day over the fence. And the reason we did that was because we knew she didn't like stalls, and we wanted to minimize the stress she was going to be feeling that night by at least allowing her to see the other horses first. When introducing the horses, we always like to start with one or two, and then that way they can get used to each other before we add more into the mix. Since Jack arrived, he has been all eyes for Foxy. She has been the center of his world until Stevie arrived. He was head over heels for her the second he saw her. A younger woman moves into the barn and he forgets all about Foxy. He kept running around the ring trying to put his face in front of Stevie's so she could just admire him as much as he was admiring her. He was chasing off every other horse. He just wanted her to see him. And the funniest part was that she only had eyes for Duke. When Foxy came out and saw Jack going crazy over Stevie, she was jealous and she let him know it. Poor Foxy had been tossed aside for a younger blonde and she didn't appreciate it. So we had quite the love triangle going on. Jack was in love with Stevie, and being the boss, he would chase everyone away from her. Stevie was only interested in Duke, and because Jack kept chasing everyone off, she was getting really annoyed with Jack. And then you had Foxy, who resented this new lady from stealing her man. And Stevie was just completely relaxed and minding her own business in the round ring. She didn't care at all what the others were doing. Now, normally we would do this slow introduction over a fence for quite some time until the horses all became used to each other, and then we would introduce one horse at a time with no barrier. Again, we got to do things a little bit differently this time because she is pregnant, so we are going to keep her separated by a fence until the baby is old enough to be introduced to another horse. The reason that we are doing this is because when you first introduce horses to each other with no barrier, they can sometimes rear, buck, kick out, and that is not something that we can risk with her being pregnant. We were anticipating bringing her into the barn and putting her into a stall and her kicking up a big fuss, and actually she was perfectly fine. She just went right in the stall and seemed really happy. So we were lucky on that account. And her first night in the barn with the other horses was a success. While it's been over a year since she's seen us, I think she remembers us from lessons. She has settled right in. She's not been very stressed at all. She is very comfortable with us and super sweet. She's very affectionate, loves getting pet and cuddled. She fits in so well, it feels like she's been here all along. And while her being pregnant was almost a reason why we didn't take her, now that she's here, we are so excited and can't wait to meet this little baby. We know that she is going to be really missed at the barn, and hopefully it makes it a little bit easier knowing that she is still part of the Applewood family, and they're always welcome here once this pandemic is over to come and visit. One thing's for sure, she's going to be spoiled with lots of love and attention. We are going to have a baby here in the next couple of weeks, so if you want to see a baby horse, then make sure you hit subscribe, like, and the notification bell so you don't miss a minute. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Barn Boots and Country Roots.